It is very much known that 2023 was one of the most violent years across the Palestinian territories in decades. Following a deadly, coordinated surprise assault by Hamas on southern Israel on 7 October, the Israel Defense Forces launched an unprecedented air campaign on the Gaza Strip, with Israeli ground troops entering the northern area of the coastal enclave 3 weeks later. The gravity of the condition has left Gaza absolutely distraught. So what exactly is the current scenario and future expectations from Gaza? Ever since then, Israeli forces have expanded their operation into central and southern Gaza. Fighting remains ongoing and is expected to still last for several months. Meanwhile, tensions in the West Bank, already alarmingly high before 7 October, have escalated even further in recent months as clashes between Palestinian armed groups and the IDF have intensified and settlers have ramped up violence. And that violence is expected to continue across the Palestinian territories, including after the current high-intensity fighting in Gaza. The current conflict marks the deadliest phase of violence for Palestinians since the establishment of Israel in 1948, with Gaza's health ministry indicating that the death toll has surpassed 23,000 people in less than 3 months of war. Although there are no official tallies of the exact number of civilian fatalities within such a toll, the IDF claims that the fatality ratio is 2 civilians to 1 militant. The AC-Elite Conflict Index highlights the severity of the conflict in Palestine, with the country ranking in the top 3 in the indicators for the deadliness of reported violence, danger to civilians, and diffusion. Israel's aerial campaign has involved over 3,045 airstrike events in 85 locations from October to the end of 2023. Despite Gaza's small size of just 360 square kilometers, this represents the highest number of airstrike events recorded within any 3-month period by a single actor for any country or territory in the Middle East since 2017. While the intensity of airstrikes has decreased in the north during the last weeks of December as the IDF strengthened its operational control of the area, Israel has continued heavy bombardments of central and southern Gaza. Although the IDF has proposed many significant advances, its ground invasion has been cautious and complicated by Hamas's vast network of tunnels and the fact that over 120 Israeli civilians and soldiers are still held captive in Gaza. Accompanied by heavy air power and artillery support, the IDF moved in hundreds of armored vehicles and thousands of troops into northern Gaza, starting on 27 October, initially surrounding Hamas's stronghold Gaza City from 3 sides. Already by 24 November, when the 2 sides began to observe a 1-week ceasefire, the IDF had established control over the majority of the north. Although sporadic fighting has continued into 2024 in Al-Daraj and Al-Tufa neighborhoods. Following the resumption of fighting on 1 December, the IDF expanded its ground operation into central and southern Gaza, and fierce fighting is ongoing around Khan Yunis, where Hamas's senior leaders and 4 main operational battalions are believed to be hiding. Israel had previously declared southern Gaza a safe zone for civilians fleeing the north, and the majority of 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza have now relocated to this area, constraining Israel's military maneuvers there. Furthermore, the extensive network of Hamas tunnels is believed to continue to pose a significant challenge to Israel, with troops combing through areas and blowing up tunnels rather than fighting underground. The increase in violence in Palestine was not contained to the Gaza Strip in 2023. It was also notable in the West Bank. Already before the outbreak of hostilities in Gaza, the West Bank experienced a steady rise in settler violence, stepped-up IDF security operations, and the re-emergence of Palestinian armed groups' activities, making 2023 the deadliest year in the West Bank in 2 decades. This trend intensified following the outbreak of violence in Gaza, pushing up the total number of people killed in the West Bank to 580 by the end of December. 2023 marked a nearly 200% rise in the number of armed clashes in the West Bank compared to 2022, while violence involving settlers increased by over a whopping amount of 60%. Israel's military superiority will most likely allow it to advance further into the Hamas strongholds that are in the southern Gaza Strip, and to extend operations to Rafah and the Philadelphia route, near Egypt's border to destroy the smuggling tunnels.